Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. In today's video, I want to examine a bullish case for the big three. I think too many people are just obsessed with ICOs lately, and we forget that the majority of innovation and development is still happening on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. These are the coins that are making real world partnerships and rolling out the infrastructure, the architecture, so we can use them in our everyday lives, paving the way for mass adoption. Now, I know Litecoin is no longer in the top 3 by market cap, but it's the oldest coin or network without a hard fork. It's got a huge community that's been around for years. It's close to my heart. I think Litecoin and Ethereum are going to surprise people to the upside this year. So just like when everyone thought that Bitcoin couldn't possibly go higher when it got over $1,000 and it ended up being one of the best performing coins, I think that Ethereum and Litecoin are really going to surprise people to the upside as they roll out these real world use cases. Now, LitePay is rolling out on Feb 26, and this is just one instance of the announcements we've seen lately allowing crypto to be used as a method of payment in our everyday lives. So Coinbase also rolling out a PayPal-like plugin that's going to see increased use case for Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin. Now, these user-friendly interfaces that people are used to, it's putting it under our noses. And even if you're not familiar with crypto, you start to say, oh, you know, that's great. I can use that. I didn't realize that that's there. And it's just giving more and more people the opportunity to discover cryptocurrency. Maybe they see that, hey, this has less fees, or this is faster to get confirmed, all those sort of things, and positioning itself for mass awareness. So again, eBay replacing PayPal with Adyen. They've got that partnership with BitPay. It's just another example of how this all starts to snowball, and more merchants will want to accept crypto if they see those people that own crypto using and spending their crypto there and picking up their turnover, all those sort of things. And nobody wants to be first, but now we're seeing the action starting to happen. Nobody will want to be last. Now that's the retail side of things and individual investors, but institutional money is something I've spoken about a lot on the channel. So Mike Novogratz, a friend of the channel, the herd is coming. Now I'm hoping to have him on soon once he's out of that media blackout and he's rolled out his multi-million-dollar fund. But a number of funds want to give their clients crypto exposure. Now, it's impossible for those large sovereign wealth funds with hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars under management to invest in small cap coins. I'd say that nearly every fund is going to have exposure to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, those large cap coins. Now that's just another example of money that is going to flow into those coins, and it should increase the market cap. So now onto Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin did get extremely expensive and slow to use for a few months there. The network is now chugging along and a lot better, a lot cheaper, a lot faster. Now we've seen a few announcements that will improve that. We still have the possibility of Lightning Network rolling out in the future. We know that SegWit is being implemented by more and more, wallet providers and merchants. Coinbase is responsible for a lot of network traffic, both behind the scenes on their back end and its individual users. So once they've got SegWit, that's going to reduce fees and network congestion as well. But the network's, that mempool, a lot smaller than what it used to be. Satoshis per byte, transactions getting cheaper, room for improvement, but it's going to regain its market dominance if it has that Lightning Network, SegWit, just that cryptocurrency that everyone's familiar with, first mover advantage. Who knows if we get a Bitcoin ETF for investment purposes, but I think it can regain that market dominance if it achieves those key goals. So onto Ethereum here. Now again, people are saying that any ICO will outperform Ethereum, and I don't like that thinking and that sort of statement. I think Ethereum is going to surprise people when it starts outperforming some of the worst ICOs here. People are going to rush back into ETH, just like everyone was in altcoins chasing those gains, and then people started to rush back into Bitcoin as it marched from a few $1,000s up to $20,000. So I think Ethereum is going to surprise people to the upside. More and more exchanges will use ETH pairs. We've seen Ethereum-based tokens really have the market dominance, the vast majority of market share. It's the platform of choice for ICOs to launch. Now, you guys know that I like NAM, I like NEO. There's other projects where you can ICO and launch on top of, but Ethereum is going to be that dominant blockchain still, I think. Not to mention all the Ethereum that's raised. You know, that sits in the war chest of these projects to spend over the coming years. That is supply that is taken off market, okay? More and more reasons I think Ethereum will continue to grow. Now, that's not to mention all the great projects that are on top and contributing to that ecosystem. So things like 0x, we've spoken about, the decentralized protocol that all these exchanges will work on. Ethereum is going to play a key part in all that infrastructure. We already see those projects forming partnerships with each other. Cross-pollination, whatever you want to call it. I just think Ethereum community is going to be very attractive for institutional money, developers. Plenty of reasons to like Ethereum, and I think that people are going to be surprised by how well Ethereum itself performs, not to mention the tokens that have quality projects. So on to Litecoin now. As I mentioned before, huge community. So they've been petitioning, you know, the likes of Netflix, Spotify, Amazon, more and more merchants to accept Litecoin payments. Now, this hasn't necessarily come to fruition, but it's just getting it out there in that global consciousness. And as we said, we're seeing a few people now start to accept it. It's that snowball effect. Once people see this out there and being positive for their business, more and more merchants will accept it. Now, Charlie recently stated they want to reduce fees by a factor of 100, so 1/3 of a cent. Now, that's, again, a way to frustrate miners that are all about collecting those fees. Now, I think Charlie's smarter than that, and he wouldn't be doing this if he didn't think we're going to see a huge increase in network traffic on the Litecoin network. So, yes, miners can still, you know, set that bar at what the minimum fees they want to accept in each block are and all that sort of thing. But I really think Charlie knows that miners are important to proof of work based coins. He doesn't want to piss them off. I think we're going to see a big positive announcements coming through that increase that network traffic and fees across the Litecoin network. Here's a list of the merchant processors that are already accepting Litecoin, but more to come is that key there. Now, the Litecoin Foundation and dev team have been very quiet the last few months. I think there's some big things happening behind the scenes. I'm looking forward to more announcements in the future. Microsoft, again, pointing to the fact that these decentralized IDs on blockchains, these large cap coins are favorable for them to use. They're trusted, they're secure, they've stood the test of time, they're anti-fragile. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin getting a shout out here from these big tech companies. And I think a lot of people forget that these ICOs, some of them don't have a working product for 12 or 18 months or longer on their roadmap. And these real world deals and these large companies are going to want to use that stuff before that period when these other protocols are still experimenting and ironing out bugs. These large big three coins can be penning partnerships and paving the way for mass adoption. So I hope you've enjoyed that video, guys. Please hit like, share this video around, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, thanks for tuning in, guys. Cheers.